y'all, it is Casey with Russo Resells. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Casey. I am a full-time online reseller and I sell on platforms such as eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, and Curtsy. Today is Saturday, June 13th. As you can tell, I am dressed to the nines because my husband and I have to get to an event. So I am going to be going through these sales pretty quickly. So when we last left off, it was Wednesday, June 10th. I had 2 more sales that day. Then Thursday, June 11th, I had 6 sales. Yesterday, Friday, June 12th, I had 4 sales, and I've already had 1 sale this morning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into them. So the first sale on Wednesday is this Chico's new with tags, really pretty royal purple studded V-neck. It is absolutely gorgeous, and because it was new with tags, I did decide to pick it up. I picked it up for about $5 at a thrift store near my parents', and I priced this for $27.99 plus $5 ship. A month later, I did receive an offer of $23 plus $5 ship, which I thought was fantastic, and I did accept. It cost me $6.95 to ship. My fees to eBay were $3.96, and I turned $5 into $17.09. Now, the next item to sell, for those of you new here, I am a couponer, and I got these for free couponing. They are a lot of 2 Advil liquid gels, and I posted them up on eBay for $14.99 plus free ship. I received an offer of $10 plus free ship, and I've had those listed for a while, so I did go ahead and accept that. It cost me $6.24 to ship. I did have them promoted, so those fees were 50 cents. My fees to eBay were $1.57, and I turned free to me items into $1.69. That'll go right back into my couponing fund. The first item to sell on Thursday is this Atlantic, Pacific, and Lake collab. I believe I bought about 3 or 4 of these, and this is the last to sell. It is this beautiful white and green striped, I want to say it's a sleep dress. It's absolutely beautiful. Definitely reminds me of something that a beautiful lady in the Hamptons would wear on her beachfront house property like deck, and that's why I had to pick them up. I also had to pick them up because they were only about $4 to $5 at a half off Salvation Army sale. So I priced that at $35 on Poshmark. My Nifty sent out a 20% off offer to likers of $28. One of those likers did counter at $25, and because I only got it for $4 or $5, I did decide to go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $5, and I turned $5 into $20. Now, the next item to sell is very exciting. It is by Ulla Johnson. This is a consignment piece from my lovely tennis teammate. It is this beautiful burgundy like side ruched maxi dress, 100% silk. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I priced it very high because I wanted to leave room for offers. So I did price it at $420. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of $336, and one of those likers did counter at $285, which we gladly accepted. Our fees to Poshmark were $57. She left with a profit of $136.80, and I made a profit of $91.20, and that was only listed for a couple weeks, so very thrilled with that sale. Now, the next items to sell were actually put in a bundle. So they're by J. Crew. And I want to say 2 years ago, I got a box of new with tags J. Crew swim pieces from a liquidation company. So I have $1 into each of these. The first one is this blue and white striped, which is absolutely adorable. This one is kind of like an orange red textured bottom, which is so cute. And then this is just a plain white one, which I thought was adorable. So they are the same size. I did want to go ahead and bundle them, so the buyer thought they were getting a better deal. We all know it's a little hard to sell swim separates. So I priced those at $30. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of $24. One of those likers did counter at $20, and I gladly accepted. My fees to Poshmark were $4, and I turned $3 into $16. And I still have a lot of those listed. That's actually the first one to sell, so I am very happy to get rid of it. That was not a good buy, and I definitely have learned from that mistake. The next item to sell is by Lucky in Love. I actually had 3 of these, and this one is the last to sell. This is also from my tennis teammate. It is this really cute white sheer pleated dress, athletic dress, tennis dress. Very cute with that contrasting zipper in the back. And I had this listed quite high at $60, and my Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers on Poshmark of $48. One of those likers did counter at $40, and we went ahead and accept that. Our fees to Poshmark were $8. My consignee left with $19.20, and I made a profit of $12.80. And that was only listed for a few weeks, so very fast flip. This is also from my tennis teammate. It is new with tags. I believe it's pronounced Stussy or Stussy. And this is called the Big Die Tee. There are the dice right there. And then it has the bigger print on the back. As you can see, this is new with tags. And I priced it pretty aggressively on eBay for $49.99 plus $7 ship. I believe that's actually what they have them on the website listed for right now. I did receive an offer of $35 plus $7 ship, and we gladly accepted that. It cost us $6.95 to ship. We did have it promoted, so those fees were $1.34. Our fees to eBay were $6.04. My consignee left with $16.60, and I made a profit of $11.07. And that was only listed for, I want to say, a week, which is awesome. The next item to sell is by Standard James Purse, and even though this brand has a lot of basics, they are elevated and they are highly desirable. So when I saw this at the thrift store for, I believe, about $5, I still picked it up even though it is basic. It's just like this deep scoop neck heathered white tee. This is just such a hot commodity, this brand in particular. And I was actually shocked to see it at Nordstrom Rack for really good prices. So if you are looking for yourself, definitely try Nordstrom Rack. So I priced this at $27.99 plus $7 ship. It did help this item that this is a newer piece also. So it was listed on Nordstrom Rack for about $30 to $40. So I just undercut them a slight bit. I was offered $20 plus $7 ship, which I gladly accepted. It cost me $5.89 to ship. I did have it promoted, so those fees were 89 cents. My fees to eBay were $4.18, and I turned $5 into $16.04. And to get over a $10 profit on a basic item like that, I will gladly do any day. This first piece to sell yesterday, I am actually not so happy that I picked it up. I got it for about $8 at my local Savers, and I had a little brand blindness. It is by Notori. This is just not a desirable piece by them. I did get it about a year ago, so I decreased the price heavily on all of my platforms. It is this beautiful watercolor, like blue and green maxi. I want to say it might be a sleep dress, or you can wear it out. I think it is just a great travel piece because it is so lightweight, and it does have pockets. It's gorgeous, actually. And I did, like I said, decrease the price, so I dropped it to $14.99 plus $7 ship. I received an offer of $13 plus $7 ship on eBay, and I took it instantly. I've had this listed, I don't believe I said, for almost a year now, so I did want to get it out of my store. It cost me $5.73 to ship. My fees to eBay were $3.05, and I still made a little profit by making $11.22. So definitely something that I have to learn from, and that is the name of the game when it comes to this business. Now this next piece is by Talbot's. I did pick this up at a half off Salvation Army sale for $4. It is a merino wool blend, and it is just the cutest, most dainty, beautiful argyle printed sweater. Absolutely love this. I thought this would sit until the winter, so I am pleasantly surprised and happy that it sold during the dead of summer, or going into summer, I want to say. It feels like the dead of summer in SoCal because it's been in the 80s and 90s lately. I did have this listed for $30 on Poshmark. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of 24, and one of those likers did accept. My fees to Poshmark were $4.80, and I turned $4 to $5 into $19.20. Very happy with that. Now, the next item to sell yesterday is by Smoochie Pals. That's the tag. I did get this for $4.99 at a Salvation Army nearest my parents. It is the cutest little pink and white mushroom. I absolutely love this. It's just like a Squishmallow, but a Smoochie Pal. And I did price this for $24.99 plus $5 ship on eBay. I have had that listed for about 8 to 10 months, so when I did receive an offer of $18 plus $5 ship, I gladly accepted. It cost me $6.37 to ship. I did have it promoted, so those fees were 74 cents. My fees to eBay were $3.53, and I made a total profit of $12.36. And for a little squishy pal like that, I am very happy with that profit. The next item to sell, I wish that I hadn't picked up, but I did get it for about $1 or $2 at the Goodwill bin, so I decided I could still make a little profit. It is this really pretty bright orange racerback tank top. Absolutely love the style, and it is by Lululemon. When I got home, I did realize, and this is why I say that I wish I hadn't picked it up, it did have a little marks here and there. They're like blue marks. They're very faint, but I still wanted to disclose them in the listing. For that reason, I did price these at $20 on Poshmark. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of 16, and a liker did counter at half price for $8, and I didn't want to see this sit any longer. I've had it for about 8 to 10 months, so I did decide to go ahead and accept that with only $1 or $2 into it. My fees to Poshmark were $2.95, and I turned $2 into $5.05. Not the biggest profit, but happy that is going to a new home. Now, this next item is by Chico's, also new with tags. You can see a trend with the Chico's pieces lately. This is a beautiful bright blue heathered V-neck, like one pocket, 3/4 length sleeve blouse. I absolutely loved this, and for only, I believe, $5 it was marked at the Goodwill next to my parents' house. I did decide to go ahead and pick it up. I did price it at $27.99 plus $7 ship, and I received an offer of $15 plus $7 ship. Because it is such a basic piece, I did decide to go ahead and accept that. I am definitely in the spirit of accepting a lot of offers lately because I do not want my stores to slow down during summer. So that's just a little strategy I've been playing with. It cost me $6.17 to ship. My fees to eBay were $3.35, and I turned $5 into $12.48. And that was only listed for a couple days, so I am very happy with the fast flip. Now, the next two items I'm about to show you are the items that sold today. They actually sold in a bundle on Poshmark. They are both by the brand Cupshe. And a long time ago, I want to say a year or two ago, I used to go to an Amazon return bins store, and I would get these bathing suits consistently there for about $5 each. This first one is a beautiful, like, deep plunge ruffle, open back one-piece swimsuit. Absolutely love that one. And then this next one is just gorgeous. It is a 2-piece bikini set, and it is like this green and white ruffle trim floral bathing suit top, and then it comes with the bottoms. They're both in a size extra small. These are two that have been sitting for a while, and I think they just had to be seen by the right buyer for that extra small size. So I had them both priced on Poshmark for $22 each. So the purchaser went ahead and put them in a bundle together because on my Poshmark, I have a 25% off discount when a buyer comes in and bundles 2 or more items. Wow, that was a weird way to say it, but that's how it goes. So with that discount, it dropped down to $33, which she gladly paid. My fees to Poshmark were $6.60, and I turned $10 into $26.40. I am very happy that those finally sold after a year or two of being listed. Now, like I said earlier, my husband and I actually have an event to go to, so I am going to leave you guys right here, and I hope to hop back on within the next couple days to show you more sales. Hey y'all, it is now Tuesday, June 16th, and we last left off on Saturday, June 13th. That day I had 3 more sales, and then on Sunday, June 14th, I had 7 sales, and yesterday, Monday, June 15th, I had 6 sales. So if you can't do quick math, that is 16 items that we need to rapid fire, so let's go ahead and hop into them. The first sale on Saturday is by Pilcrow, and this is just a lovely piece. With this brand, I definitely do have to run comps in store, especially because I got this at my Savers for $8. It is a beautiful ivory floral printed sheer button-down blouse. I did want to pick this up primarily for the style, but also for the size. It is an extra large, which is, I feel, a hard size to find in this type of brand. So I did price that at $38 on Poshmark. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of $30. One of those likers did counter at $25, and I went ahead and accepted that. My fees to Poshmark were $5, and I turned $8 into $20. Very happy with that profit. Now, this next item I got at my favorite Salvation Army. It is by Fabletics, and for some reason I just have fantastic luck with men's Fabletics pieces. This is a pair of gray pull-on shorts. They are lined also, and particularly in the shorts, I feel like Fabletics does something different than other brands with their material or just the style in general, because it seems to be very hot on the resale market. I did price these at $25. I got them for about $5. I don't remember if I said that, but I listed them at $25. On Depop, I received an offer of $15, which I went ahead and accepted. I did have these boosted, so those fees were $1.80. My fees to Depop were $95, and I turned $5 into $12.25. I wouldn't say you are going to get the biggest profit on those, but to pick them up at the right price, you're always going to get a little profit. And that day I got 4 pairs, and those are the third to sell. So very happy with that purchase overall. The last item to sell on Saturday is a pair of Free People burnt orange, like wide leg corduroy pants. They are like a cargo style. They are called the Tahiti Cargo, I believe. They are so cool, and these were actually in a throwback pile at the bins. I was shocked to see them there. I think they had a little mark on the front, which deterred the original person that wanted to buy these. But it did not deter me because I knew of the style and the brand that piece would definitely sell. And what happened is I actually washed them and the little spot came right out. So very happy with that. I did price them very reasonably on Poshmark or on all of my platforms, but they sold on Mercari. on Mercari for $59.99 plus free ship. And I do have the auto price drop on Mercari, and the price was dropped to $54, and a buyer just came in and purchased them outright, which we absolutely love. My fees to Mercari were $5.40. It cost me $6.57 to ship through Pirate Ship, and I made a profit of $42.03. Those do weigh about 2 pounds or almost 2 pounds. So I paid anywhere from $5 to $7 for those, which is fantastic because I think they would have been marked up at a regular thrift store. So very happy with that profit. Now we are heading into Sunday sales. So the first sale I had is by Parsley and Sage. And I got this at a half off Salvation Army sale for $4. It is a V-neck, really cool watercolor abstract printed tunic. Absolutely love this. I think it is so fun. And even though it was in a smaller size, I did want to go ahead and pick it up. I did price it on eBay for $27.99 plus $5 ship. I received an offer of $22 plus $5 ship, which I thought was extremely reasonable, and I did go ahead and accept that. It cost me $6.74 to ship. My fees to eBay were $3.99, and I turned $4 into $16.27. Very happy for the buyer to receive that because I think it is a really cool piece. Now, the next item to sell is by Prana. Absolutely love picking up this brand, and I actually picked this up at a half off Salvation Army sale for $4, and normally I wouldn't have because of how basic this piece is, but it is Prana, and I feel if I get it at the right price, I can still make a little profit. It is this really cool chambray denim long sleeve button up. Absolutely love this. This is such a cool piece. And unfortunately, I really just couldn't get good images of it. So I did price it pretty low, or lower than comp suggested, for $24.99 plus $5 ship. My Nifty sent out 18% off offers to watchers on eBay of $20.41 plus $5 ship, and one of those watchers did accept. It cost me $6.72 to ship. My fees to eBay were $3.63. I did have it promoted, so those fees were 76 cents, and I turned $4 into $14.30. Very happy to make a $10 profit on that. The next item I sold, I actually think I got from Miss Kathy over on Ginger Marvin in one of her very first Whatnot shows. It is by Eileen Fisher. And for all of my Whatnot purchases, I have about $10 into each piece, or at least that's what it averages out to be. This is a really pretty yellow button-down long sleeve top. Absolutely love this. It is 100% linen, which we love, and it is in a great size, so I just could not pass it up. I did price it pretty high at $60 on Poshmark, and my Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of 48. One of those likers did counter at 35, and really that's where comps were for that piece. So I did decide to go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $7, and I made a profit of $28. Very happy with that item selling because, as you can tell by this next piece, linen is definitely flying out of my store right now. This is Land's End. This is also 100% linen. I did get this at my local Savers for about $8. It is this really beautiful collared puff sleeve blouse top. Absolutely love this. I just knew because it was in fantastic condition for being white and 100% linen, it would do well. I did price it on eBay for $27.99 plus $7 ship, and a buyer came in and used my 19% off coupon I have running in my eBay store for the month of June. They paid $22.67 plus $7 ship. It cost me $7.13 to ship. My fees to eBay were $4.34, and I turned $8 into $18.20. And I know I'm not making the biggest profit on a lot of these items, but these are items that I know I can make profit on, so I don't mind making, a few dollars as opposed to like hundreds of dollars. Now, this next item is by Albion, which is a good athletic and swimwear line, I think, or brand. I am not too sure, but I remember hearing this brand from another reseller on YouTube, and I decided at a half-off Salvation Army sale for only $4, I would go ahead and take the chance. This is called the Honeycomb Crew Neck, and it is like a black and white colorway. It is long sleeve, and it's just a nice little lightweight sweater, I would say. That's how I would describe it. I did price it very competitively. And competitively, I mean, I priced it pretty high as to what I saw on the resale market. And I priced it at $50. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to Likers on Poshmark of $40. And one of those Likers did counter at $35, which I thought was extremely reasonable. So I did go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $7, and I turned $4 into $28. The next item to sell, I actually just picked up, and I only picked it up because it was $2.99 at my favorite Salvation Army. It does have my hair on it. Let me get that out of here. It is by Prana, and to my surprise, when I looked up comps on this, they were crazy. They were like $30 to $40, and I could not believe it. It is a hemp blend, so I think that's why it is so sought after. This is just a basic like rust orange tee. That's literally it. There's nothing crazy about it. And I did price it lower than comps because I did want it to move, and I wanted it to move fast. And that strategy definitely worked because it sold within a day. I priced it at $27.99 plus $7 ship, and a buyer came in to my eBay store and they used my 19% off coupon. They paid $22.67 plus $7 ship. It cost me $5.89 to ship. My fees to eBay were $4.40, and I turned $3 into $19.38. I was definitely not expecting that, but I will definitely take what I can get. Now, this next item I am searching high and low for in my inventory, and it's kind of funny because I just went through all of my shoes, so there should be no reason why I can't find it, but I am having a little difficulty, so I will put a picture of it right here. These are a pair of Y2K Manolo Blahniks. They are like a silver and black mesh upper. And I did have the soles redone, so I did put that in the listing. To my surprise, comps on Manolos have gone down significantly, but these are very Y2K, very Carrie Bradshaw-esque, so I did want to go ahead and list them. They were given to me by my mother-in-law, but they are just too narrow for my feet. So I did price them at $150. My Nifty sent out 20% off offers to Likers of $120, and one of those Likers did counter at $100. Because these were a free to me item, I did just go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $20, and I turned a free to me item into $80, which I will gladly do any day. Now we're getting into yesterday's sale. So the first item to sell is this Nike Skims collab, and it is just the tiniest little sports bra I ever did see. Believe it or not, this is a size medium for them. This was given to me by my tennis teammate for consignment, and the comps looked right around 40, so that's where I did price it. And I was offered $33 on Depop, which I happily accepted. It was boosted, so those fees were $3.96. Our fees to Depop were $1.54. My consignee left with $16.50, and I made a profit of $11. And For having it only listed for about a week, I was very thrilled with that. Now, the next item to sell is by the Harmonist. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that now. It is called the Moon Glory Parfume. And I actually got this as a sample. We did a perfume purchase and we always get a bag of samplers, and I wasn't quite interested in this one, so I did decide to go ahead and list it on eBay. I priced it at $11.99 plus free ship, and I was offered $10 plus free ship, which I did accept. It cost me $5.97 to ship. I did have it promoted, so those fees were 32 cents. My fees to eBay were $1.75, and I turned a free to me item into $1.96. So not a big profit, but I do find that a lot of people look for their scent on the resale market, or they even look for scents that they might be interested in instead of buying $100 worth of a perfume. They get a tester, or maybe they want to travel and they want to take a smaller item with them instead of their giant bottle, which I don't even think you could do anyway. So perfect sample size to say nonetheless. Now, the next item to sell is also coming from the same tennis teammate. This is by Base, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it is a newer luxury, or I want to say it's a luxury travel brand. This is a bright red travel backpack, and it is new without tags. Absolutely love that backpack. I did have it priced very competitively at $150, and my Nifty on Poshmark sent out 20% off offers to likers of $120. One of those likers did counter at $111, which we happily accepted. Our fees to Poshmark were $22.20. She made a profit of $53.28, and I made a profit of $35.52. And that was only listed for a couple months. I actually had two of those. So I had a black one that sold, I want to say, a month ago, and then that one sold shortly thereafter. This next item is unfortunately coming out of my own closet, and I say unfortunately because I have lost a significant amount of weight within a year, and I was unable to wear this. So it is by Free People, and they did a collaboration with Denim and Bone. I did pay $128 for this. As you can tell, it is new with the tag still. And I did pay that with a gift card, though. I do get a lot of gift cards from family during the holidays for Free People because they know I love it. This is just the cutest. These are like patches. They're not really embroidered. Cutest little novelty printed t-shirt. Absolutely love this. The garlic clove right there, and then this little piece of toast with jam. Absolutely love this, but once I put it on after losing all of that weight, it looked like a parachute on me. So I decided to go ahead and list it because what better thing to do as a reseller. I did price it on Mercari for $99.99 plus free ship, and a buyer came in a couple days later and offered me $87.99 plus free ship. And because I did pay using a gift card, it was really not my own money. I did decide to go ahead and accept that. It cost me $10.43 to get the shipping label through Pirate Ship. My fees to Mercari were $8.79, and I turned $0 into $68.78. A little sad I wasn't able to use that item, but very happy to extend that option to another person. Hopefully they can use it. So the next items to sell are these Lot of 3 Crest Arctic Fresh toothpaste. And for those of you new here, I am a couponer and I get all of my toothbrushes and toothpaste for free. So I have $0 into that with couponing. I did price them on eBay for $11.99 plus free ship. It cost me $6.10 to ship. My fees to eBay were $2.05. And I didn't mention this, but a buyer just came in and purchased them outright, which we absolutely love. And I turned $0 into $3.84. That'll go right back into my couponing fund. Now, the last item to sell yesterday is by Rails. And I actually found this at my local Savers for about $8. I was hesitant picking it up, but I did look up comps and they were very great on this piece. It is a really cute black, like acid wash ruffle blouse. Absolutely love this. It is so trendy, so cute, and it's kind of like a chambray denim, so very comfortable. I did comfortably price this at $34.99 plus $7 ship. I think comps were right around there. And my Nifty did send out 18% off offers to watchers on eBay of $28.69 plus $7 ship, and one of those watchers did accept. It cost me $6.37 to ship. I didn't have this promoted. Very happy about that. $0 in promotional fees. And my fees to eBay were $5.33. So I turned $8 into $23.99. Very happy with that. Now, as you can tell, I have 16 sales to package up and ship out. I am going to be a little busy beyond this video, so without further ado, I really appreciate you guys being here. As always, I hope you're having fantastic thrifting, fantastic sales, and until next time, my friends, bye.